Rastafari. Greetings, brothers and sisters. Wyndham Ross John, Ross Johannes Negus. This is my second video on the Rastafari and Hidden Colors channel I made today. And this topic we're going to discuss is about was Marcus Garvey faithful to himself and to Haile Selassie of Ethiopia. And what you see here is an article that I found on the internet, a newspaper, and in it, it says Abyssinian king, meaning Ethiopia, tells Garvey to come home. Now, as everyone knows, Marcus Garvey's been hailed as the prophet, the John the Baptist, which he was of the Rastafari movement. He was our John the Baptist because he foretold and prepared ones for the coming of the Moshiach, the King of Kings. He said, look to Africa for the crowning of a king. But even that is up to debate because now one say that a Garveyite named the Reverend James Morris Webb was the first one to say that, saying about a great king in the East will be crowned the coming of a black king. But I will discuss that on the next vid. But for right now, I want to get into this discussion regarding this right here. Excuse me a second, brothers and sisters. The Failure of Haile Selassie as an Emperor. Editorial by Marcus Garvey and the Black Man, London, March-April 1937. The failure of Haile Selassie. When the facts or history of written of Haile Selassie of Abyssinia will go down as a great coward who ran away from his country to save his skin and left the millions of his countrymen to the struggle for a terrible war that he brought upon them because of his political ignorance of his racial disloyalty. It is a pity of a man of limited intellectual caliber and weak political character like Haile Selassie became emperor of Abyssinia. Now this is interesting. He keeps saying Abyssinia, like the Arab slave traders or European Eurocentricites. Abyssinia is trying to dislodge the blackness out of Ethiopia, and meaning mixed Arab Habasha, as they like to say. So Garvey again was not fully understanding the truth about Ethiopia. And when you read this, you see that he, in many ways, used Ethiopia for his own gain at times and didn't see things in a prophetic way, but more of an ultra-racial manner. But let's go on. Every Negro ashamed. Every Negro who is proud of his race must be ashamed of the way in which Haile Selassie surrendered himself to the white wolves of Europe. Now, in a video I will show, in either this video or the next video, I will show you how that was not true. That Haile Selassie did not surrender to any white nation, but he was told to flee by his own warriors in Ethiopia. He wanted to continue guerrilla-like warfare against the fascists, but they told him to spare all the death and destruction, go and plead your case to the world. These statements must be considered very severe in the fact we could have been otherwise apologetic and sympathetic, but that would have been only if we were dealing with a Coptic priest or a religious monk and not an emperor who held and presided over the political trust of 12 million people of his own country and the political destiny of the entire Negro race. When many, like George Padmore and others, attacked Garvey and told Garvey that he was wrong for not seeing His Majesty, because His Majesty was well loved and respected by many of the Beta Israel here in the West, and the islands, and in New York and Harlem. Now, Garvey again shows that he is very ignorant of prophecy, and I'm sure ones have read this, and I know Rebbe Ross Yadin has done plenty of videos of this. Now, this is an interesting point. The truth must be told so that the white world will realize that it was not the pride of the Negro that surrendered in Abyssinia. But no one surrendered in Abyssinia. Again, Garvey is creating this propaganda, almost like subversive COINTELPRO type thing that many in the so-called conscious community use to disregard Haile Selassie and to say that he was not loyal to his people and that he ran to the white nations of Europe, which is totally untrue, but I'll get to that in a sec. It was the disloyalty of a single man who was too silly to take pride in his race, who played such a game as to disgrace the political integrity of the noble people. The Negroes of Abyssinia and the and of the world are satisfied, however, that Abyssinia was not conquered by Italian and the European forces of Mussolini. Abyssinia was only conquered by the black levies of Italy. See, Ethiopia, many Ethiopians I talked to, including the warrior brethren that I met at the meeting when I met the Crown Prince a few years ago, told me Ethiopia never surrendered. And again, Garvey here makes another story. No slaves. It was a piece of imperatives to suggest that the black man should be held as slaves. We must admit that we glorified Haile Selassie when the war started, fought his battles to win international support, but we ever felt deep down in our hearts that he was a slave master who had hoped that if Abyssinia had won, that we would have forced the government of Abyssinia to free the black whom they held as slaves. See, again, Garvey shows his ignorance. His Majesty abolished slavery in Ethiopia, but that slavery was not like the slavery here in the West. That was more like indentured servitude. And in my next video, I'll touch on that a little bit more. Jah, guide, and protection.